Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping into one of the topics you've asked about the most, and honestly, one of the most critical for our health, sleep. We're going to break down exactly what Harvard's top experts are saying about why it's so absolutely essential for our brain, our body, really for our entire life.
Okay, let's start with a quick question, right where you are. Go ahead and raise your hand if you feel like you need more sleep. My guess is a whole lot of hands just went up. Well, if your hand is up, you are definitely not alone. You're actually in the vast majority. A staggering 70% of people don't get enough sleep. So this isn't some personal failing, it's a massive, widespread problem.
Yeah, it's so widespread, in fact, that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, have officially declared insufficient sleep to be a public health epidemic. And the danger this epidemic poses in the real world is, well, it's terrifying. Just think about this. Every single month in the US, 56 million people are struggling to stay awake behind the wheel. That leads to 1 million crashes every single year. This isn't just about feeling a little tired. It has literal life or death consequences.
So what's actually going on inside our most critical organ when we don't get the rest it needs? Let's take a look at your brain on no sleep.
And wow, the difference is like night and day. A well-rested brain, it's focused, it's logical. But a sleep-deprived brain is running on empty. It leads to terrible judgment, and you become way more emotionally volatile. You know, the parts of your brain in charge of smart decisions, they basically just go cold.
Now this is one of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years. Sleep basically acts like a dishwasher for your brain. While you're sleeping, these special channels in your brain actually get bigger, and they flush out all this toxic gunk that builds up during the day, including a protein called amyloid beta, which has a strong link to Alzheimer's disease. So what about caffeine? Can't we just power through with coffee? Well, as Harvard sleep expert Dr. Chisler brilliantly puts it, using caffeine is like jamming chewing gum in your thermostat. Sure, it blocks the signal telling you you're tired, but it doesn't fix the real problem. It's not doing any of that vital cleanup work. It's just a mask. Not getting enough sleep also messes with your memory in a really weird way. A study found that when people were sleep deprived, their ability to remember positive or even neutral words was cut in half. But their memory for negative words, that stayed almost perfect. You literally become biased towards remembering the bad stuff. And this can lead to some really serious misdiagnoses. For teenagers especially, the symptoms of being sleep deprived, trouble focusing, mood swings, can look exactly like the signs of ADHD. This means we might be medicating what we think is a disorder when the real root cause is just a chronic lack of sleep. And the impact just keeps building from there, because the damage isn't just in our heads. Oh no, it's a system-wide problem that hits our entire body.
Get this. Take your immune system. If you get a flu shot after just 1 week of not sleeping enough, your body produces only half the antibody response. It literally makes the vaccine 50% less effective.
The risks for your heart and your cardiovascular system are just as shocking. Untreated sleep apnea, that's a really common condition where you stop breathing for short periods during sleep, can increase your risk of dying from cardiovascular disease by an incredible 420%. A lack of sleep also sends your metabolism into complete chaos. It messes up the hormones that control hunger, so you feel hungrier, but you also feel less full after you eat. It makes your insulin less effective, which is a direct path to weight gain, obesity, and diabetes. And get this, it turns out even your fat cells need sleep to work right. Who knew? Okay, I know, that was a whole lot of bad news. But here's the really good news. This is a solvable problem. So let's pivot from the why this is bad to the how we can fix it and talk about reclaiming your sleep. First, let's identify the main culprits. You've got your electronics, with all that blue light that tells your brain to stop making melatonin, the go-to-sleep hormone. Then there's caffeine. It has a half-life of 6 to 9 hours, which means the coffee you had in the afternoon could still be messing with you at midnight. And finally, inconsistent schedules, which creates social jet lag. That's when sleeping in on the weekends throws your internal body clock totally out of whack for the week ahead.
So the solution really comes down to 3 key pillars, and you need all of them. First is duration, getting those 7 to 9 hours. Second is consistency, going to bed and waking up around the same time. Yep, even on weekends. And third is quality, making sure that sleep is actually deep and restorative. If you're missing even one of these, it can undermine the other 2.
And here's a super simple but really powerful tip. We all set an alarm to force ourselves to wake up, so why not set an alarm to remind yourself to wind down? An alarm that says, okay, it's time to put the phone away and start getting ready for bed. Now, on a bigger societal level, some changes could have huge benefits. A study by the RAND Corporation estimated that if we simply started school later for teenagers, it would lead to an annual economic gain of $9.3 billion. That's from things like better academic performance and fewer car accidents.
Now, I'm sure you've heard this famous quote from Benjamin Franklin before. It's often used as the ultimate excuse to just burn the candle at both ends and sacrifice sleep for whatever else.
But Dr. Cheisler at Harvard has the perfect, powerful comeback. And you'll get there a lot sooner if you don't get enough sleep. Wow, that just completely reframes the entire conversation, doesn't it? It's not about productivity versus rest anymore. It's about longevity.
So the most important takeaway here is that sleep is not a luxury. It's not optional. It is a fundamental, non-negotiable biological necessity for your brain and your body to function. So, knowing that, I want to leave you with a question. What is the one change you're going to commit to making starting as soon as tonight?